Hello and welcome back to another My Hero Academia review. So today I'm gonna talk about mostly Deku because we got some really big things on Deku this week. Let's be honest, like we got some huge development in regards to Deku using his quirk during the whole moment with All Might. But before that I want to talk about the whole school festival thing with Jiro. Well, primarily Jiro. Obviously we had some Mina stuff, some Mineta stuff going on. You know, a lot of characters had some interactions this chapter, but Jiro is definitely the one that stood out once again. You can really tell that Horikoshi is trying to push Jiro to the point where she's gonna be extremely relevant this arc, to the point of kind of being the lead role in a sense, especially when it comes to the festival stuff. I mean, obviously in case Gentle and La Brava happens to, you know, invade UA as they plan and whatnot, we're probably gonna see some leads on other ends, like maybe Deku, maybe Bakugo, Todoroki, who knows. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be a full-blown fight or anything, but if we just focus on the festival itself, their performance that they are planning to do, we learned that Jiro may be able to play some instruments, but she's also pretty good at singing, which I guess shouldn't really be a surprise given that she is in fact a musician at heart. It is kind of predictable in a sense, so she's gonna be a very, I guess, casual lead in that sense, because Horikoshi have gone out and said recently that this arc is gonna be the most schoolish the series has ever experienced so far, meaning we're definitely gonna be getting some laid back stuff. It's not gonna be very intense action going on, you know, it's just a festival. It's gonna be kind of like the Moon Festival from Food Wars. I think that's what it was called, where, you know, it's not really that action packed. I mean, yes, there's gonna be some intense moments maybe, but it's not really gonna be related to anything serious. You know, the arc is gonna have a very laid back theme. Now, one part of the chapter that really surprised me was Mineta, because you look at Mineta, we know he's a pervert, you know, he just wants to get the titties, you know, he even suggested having a strip club. Mineta, he knows what needs to be done, but in this chapter was something really different between Mineta and Mina, actually. Not really in the sense that you could ever ship them. I'm not saying anything like that, because let's be honest, we're not gonna see any relation between Mineta and Mina. It's just not going to happen. But what I want to talk about is the moment when Mineta is offered a harem part in the play. Now this is something that I think a lot of Mineta fans, including myself, are going to be looking forward to a lot. I mean, even though it's probably just gonna be a small part in the play that they're doing, the performance that they're doing, but it's gonna be a step towards Mineta's godly harem at the end of the series that we all want to see. We're gonna get a sneak peek of what Mineta would actually be like had he possessed a harem. Obviously, we don't really know if that's gonna happen. Will it? Maybe. Horikoshi may go down that route because Mineta is his favorite character, but whether the series is gonna focus on his harem is a questionable topic. However, in this performance, he's gonna get a harem part. At least Mina has now promised him, and that was really the only way to get Mineta to dance, which means, of course, if they want Mineta to really try his best to partake in this performance in the way that they want, they're gonna have to bribe him with something, and giving him a part where he has his own harem, it's gonna be like a dream come true for Mineta. Anyway, so before I get into Deku, there's something that I would really like to address, and that is the very final panels with Eri. So as we know, Eri is going to be taking part in the festival. We know this much, but we don't really know what's gonna happen, you know, surrounding Eri, and the only thing we really know is that they're gonna try to make her smile. They're gonna try to brighten up her life by bringing her to the festival, and that is something that I'm really looking forward to, because I can really see something going wrong. I can see Gentle and La Brava, you know, interrupting and something's gonna happen, but at the same time, I could also see La Brava and Gentle kind of being the reason to Eri's smile, even if it isn't intentional. Like, they're gonna want attention. If they interrupt the festival, they're gonna want attention for their videos. You know, they're gonna want to record what they're doing. They want the UA Academy to be their biggest hit yet, which I'm guessing was kind of inspired by how Shigaraki infiltrated the USJ way back. But Gentle and La Brava aren't really villains. They're just attention-seeking criminals at best. I mean, they're barely criminals. They're just, I mean, they're breaking the law, but they're not really villains at all. They're not really hurting people. They're just really bending the laws too much, really. That's all they're doing. Okay, so Deku. Now, Deku is something that I want to talk about a lot, because in this chapter, we had some crazy Deku stuff going on with him and All Might, of course. We know in the overhaul arc, Deku was able to, like, control... Well, yeah, he was able to control 20% of One for All, but it was taking a huge toll on his body. And he tells this to All Might. This is what he wanted to talk with All Might about. And All Might gives him a lot of tips. And this is like huge development on Deku's part, because now we might be able to see Deku actually develop a new fighting style that we haven't really seen from him before. Well, we technically have, because by the sound of it, like the way they described it, he's going to like put together 2 of his earlier steps in his training, which was referred to as 2 and 6, where he would control a percentage in one body part, as well as also pushing him to 20% when the need would arise, meaning he's gonna have to push himself a little above what he can actually control, but he is going to kind of focus it into one body part without it actually breaking. So he's not really gonna push 100% probably, because we know if he did that, the body part would break at this time anyway. So he's probably gonna have to maybe focus 20% into his arm or his leg in this case, because he's using shoot style right now, you know, whenever he needs to attack, but he's only really gonna push it to 20% during the time when his attack connects to whoever he's fighting. He's not really gonna use full-cowl 20%, because that, as we know right now anyway, wasn't really the best idea, because he can only use it for a very short time, and after that he's probably gonna be very drained in terms of stamina. So I'm really curious to see, you know, exactly how quickly he's going to be able to adapt to this new technique, because I'm sure it's gonna take a while. He's not just gonna learn to master it instantly. It's gonna take some time before he can properly use this in a fight, because first he has to learn how to just properly focus a specific amount of percentage into one body part, and also not completely overload it with, you know, 100%, because we know, as I said, that leads to broken bones. We don't want that. We want him to use maybe 20% in this case, maybe 15%, you know, above his actual limit to control anyway. That's the whole point here. He's going to be able to push him a little bit above his normal limit in, you know, a certain part of the body, and then when the attack is done, he can go back to whatever he is able to control, and his body will be fine. So a question I asked myself when reading this was, is this how All Might was fighting Nomu? Because we remember he was pushing above his limits when fighting Nomu, because Nomu was able to, you know, keep up with 100% of All Might's powers. So could this be the key as to why All Might was able to push beyond 100%, because he was using 100% during Nomu, but logically speaking, you shouldn't really be able to go above 100%, but if you can actually, you know, strain your body even further, even though it's gonna obviously take a toll on your body, that would be a very interesting way of dealing with the whole surpassing your limits thing that we've had in My Hero Academia so far, especially seeing as even Deku did that at one point during his fight with Muscular when he was fighting, and his final attack when he did shout 1,000,000%. We know it wasn't really 1,000,000% of course, but he was hyping himself up to the point where he wanted us to make sure that his attack was even stronger than the last, because 100% just wasn't enough to deal with Muscular. He had to go above that. So I'm guessing this might be what All Might was doing against Nomu, except he obviously had a lot more control than Deku, meaning he could just use it at will as much as he wanted, as long as his body could handle it. So I think we're gonna see something like that from Deku now. Obviously he's gonna have to train in order to reach that state, and it's not really gonna be on the same level as All Might just yet, but it's gonna be on the right track, except it's gonna be more about kicks, because he is using shoot style. He's not really about punches anymore, he's more about kicks, although he can punch, you know, from time to time, as long as he doesn't fuck his body up. Like, he can't break any arms. If he does that, his arms apparently fucked for life essentially. Anyway, that's really all I had to say about this week's chapter of My Hero Academia, so I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love to know what you think down below in the comments, and as always, if you did, be sure to Detroit smash that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new to my channel. This has been Chaotic Plus, and remember everyone, Toga is waifu, Toga is laifu.